Someone is lying. Someone is terrified. And after weeks of secrets, accusations, and suspicion, one horrifying possibility is beginning to emerge. What if Gary Windass and Sarah Platt have been hiding the truth for all the wrong reasons? What if neither of them killed Theo Silverton, but their desperate attempts to protect each other have accidentally pushed the real killer further out of reach? And if that's true, everything we thought we knew about Theo's murder could be completely wrong. Welcome back to Coronation Street Update. And tonight, we're diving into one of the most explosive theories ever to emerge from the Theo Silverton murder mystery. Because after a chilling flashback, a growing list of suspicious clues, and a trail of increasingly desperate behavior from both Gary and Sarah, fans are starting to believe something far more complicated is happening behind the scenes. A theory that could completely change the way we view every conversation, every secret meeting, and every nervous glance these two have shared since Theo died. And the deeper you look, the stranger it becomes. For weeks, viewers have watched Gary and Sarah behaving in a way that has made everybody suspicious. They've shared secret conversations. They've appeared visibly nervous whenever Theo's death is mentioned. They've defended one another at crucial moments. And perhaps most importantly, neither of them seems willing to explain exactly what happened on the night Theo died. Naturally, accusations of an affair quickly began spreading through Weatherfield. Maria became convinced her husband was betraying her. Kit started watching Gary more closely. Even viewers began questioning whether old feelings between Gary and Sarah had resurfaced. But then something happened. Something that changed the entire conversation. A flashback. A flashback that showed Gary standing high above Theo's lifeless body. A flashback that instantly made him one of the most suspicious people in Weatherfield. And yet, it still didn't actually show Gary killing Theo. That's the detail many fans can't stop thinking about. The image was devastating. Gary holding a mallet. Gary looking down. Gary clearly present. But presence isn't proof. And that's where the real mystery begins. Because if Gary didn't kill Theo, why has he been acting like a man carrying a terrible burden? What exactly is he afraid of? The answer may be much more emotional than viewers first realized. Imagine the situation from Gary's perspective. He arrives. He sees Theo. Something terrible has happened. Maybe Theo is already dying. Maybe he's already dead. Maybe Gary immediately assumes someone he cares about is responsible. And suddenly panic takes over. Fear replaces logic. Guilt replaces reason. Desperation replaces truth. Instead of reporting what happened, Gary starts protecting someone. But who? At first, many fans believed that person was Sarah. He would explain everything. Their secrecy. Their private meetings. Their shared anxiety. Their refusal to tell the whole story. But then another theory started gaining momentum online. And this one may be even more shocking. What if Sarah thinks Gary killed Theo, while Gary thinks Sarah killed Theo? Just think about that for a moment. Two people. Both innocent. Both convinced the other is guilty. Both desperately trying to cover up evidence. Both hiding information from the police. Both making themselves look suspicious. All because of a catastrophic misunderstanding. Suddenly their behavior makes perfect sense. The secrecy. The tension. The constant fear. The awkward conversations. Everything fits. And that's why fans are becoming increasingly convinced that neither Gary nor Sarah actually murdered Theo. Instead, they may have accidentally trapped themselves inside a web of lies created by mistaken assumptions. But that's only the beginning. Because another name keeps appearing at the center of fan theories. Todd Grimshaw. And this is where things become truly fascinating. For months, Todd suffered at Theo's hands. The relationship became increasingly toxic. Emotionally damaging. Deeply manipulative. And incredibly painful. Theo wasn't simply another villain. He was someone who caused genuine devastation. Someone who left emotional scars behind. Someone capable of pushing people to breaking point. So when Theo ended up dead, viewers naturally began asking one question. Had Todd finally snapped? Many fans don't believe he did. But some think Gary and Sarah might. And if Gary or Sarah discovered Theo after a confrontation involving Todd, they may have immediately assumed Todd was responsible. That would create a powerful motive for protecting him. Especially if they believed he had acted in self-defense. Especially if they thought prison would destroy him. Especially if they believed Theo had brought the situation upon himself. But what if Todd isn't guilty either? then things become even darker. Because now we have multiple innocent people covering up a crime that nobody actually committed. Or worse, covering up for the wrong person entirely. And that's where another chilling possibility emerges. What if the real killer has been watching all of this unfold? Watching Gary attract suspicion. Watching Sarah become increasingly stressed. Watching Summer face horrifying consequences. Watching the investigation move further away from the truth. And saying absolutely nothing. If that's what's happening, then Theo's killer has already won. At least for now. Meanwhile, the emotional consequences continue growing more devastating. Maria is convinced something inappropriate is happening. Her marriage appears increasingly fragile. Trust is disappearing. Every unanswered question creates another crack. Every secret conversation fuels another argument. Every suspicious moment pushes relationships closer to collapse. And viewers are beginning to wonder whether Theo's death will destroy multiple families before the truth finally emerges. Then things become even more complicated. Because an explosive dinner party is approaching. A dinner party that already feels more like a battlefield. Old wounds. Old suspicions. Old resentments. Everything is about to collide. And if recent spoilers are anything to go by, nobody will leave unchanged. Maria is expected to make a shocking accusation. Kit is determined to uncover answers. Todd is desperate to learn the truth. Sarah looks increasingly trapped. And Gary continues behaving like a man carrying an unbearable secret. The tension is reaching breaking point. But one detail changes everything. Blood. Because by the end of this dramatic gathering, blood is reportedly splattered across the table. Broken glass. Overturned furniture. Explosive confrontations. And a series of flashbacks finally revealing what happened on the night Theo died. The question is, will the truth be as simple as fans expect? Or is Coronation Street preparing one final twist? Because the more clues emerge, the less straightforward this mystery appears. A guilty Gary seems almost too obvious. And a fair explanation feels increasingly unlikely. And every new flashback seems designed to raise more questions than answers. Which is exactly why viewers remain divided. Some still believe Gary killed Theo. Others think Sarah knows everything. Some suspect Todd. Others point toward entirely different suspects. And a growing number believe the biggest shock of all is coming. A revelation that nobody currently sees. A truth hidden beneath weeks of misdirection. A devastating misunderstanding that has sent innocent people spiraling toward disaster. And if that's true, then next week's reveal could be far more emotional than anyone expects. Because sometimes the most tragic stories aren't about murder. They're about fear. They're about guilt. They're about people making terrible decisions because they believe they're helping someone they care about. Gary may be guilty of hiding the truth. Sarah may be guilty of protecting secrets. But that doesn't automatically make either of them killers. In fact, their greatest mistake may have been assuming they knew what happened. And if they were wrong, the consequences could be catastrophic. Because every lie told to protect someone creates another victim. Every secret pushes the investigation further off course. Every cover-up allows the real truth to remain hidden. And now the clock is running out. The killer is about to be exposed. The flashbacks are about to reveal their secrets. And the relationships holding Weatherfield together may not survive what comes next. But if one thing is becoming increasingly clear, the Theo Silverton mystery may never have been about an affair. It may never have been about jealousy. And it may never have been about the person viewers suspect most. Instead, this could be a story about panic, misunderstanding, fear, and a tragic chain reaction that spiraled completely out of control. The real question now is this. When the final flashback finally plays, will Gary and Sarah be revealed as killers? Or will they be exposed as two frightened people who spent weeks protecting a secret that never existed in the first place? And if they've been wrong all along, who has been benefiting from their silence? Because when the truth finally comes out, Weatherfield may discover that the most dangerous person in this entire mystery has been hiding in plain sight all along. And that revelation could change everything.